Welcome back. So to preview the trade deadline, I'm joined by our insider, Brian Windhorst, and our guru of front offices, Bobby Marks. So at the top of the show, Brian, we played some sound from Steve Nash saying that the Nets are not trading James Harden. But do people around the league believe them?
Nope. They definitely believe it's going to be something that is going to be discussed. I know that the Nets, according to Woj and Ramona, I know that the Nets and the 76ers have not directly talked to each other. But from what I understand, there's communication going on through other parties. This is going to be one of the most interesting negotiations, Bobby, that I've ever seen in my 20 years covering the NBA. Because even if it's not a deal this week, these teams could make a deal on this situation this summer. And there's so many different facets going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're right. I mean, this is kind of how it starts, right? Although it's not now, it could lead to something in July. And I'm looking at teams like Portland, New Orleans, Washington. This is their free agency right now. This free agent class of players is not great. There's going to be a lack of cap space. I think teams can go out and do deals right now. If you're the Pelicans, they're in the 10th seed. You can go out and improve your roster. You've got that big trade exception. This is where it starts right now.
And Brian, we heard Woj come on the show earlier and report that there are teams that are eyeing C.J. McCollum. But from the conversations that you've had, what players could be on the move this week?
Well, a lot of people are trying to figure out what the Sacramento Kings are doing.
Okay.
The Kings have three guys in De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and Harrison Barnes, who would all be really good additions to teams competing for the playoffs. But depending on who they've talked to, Bobby, it's not 100% clear whether those guys are available. Sometimes it sounds like they might trade them. Sometimes it sounds like they won't trade them. But these are three guys that could really make a difference to somebody down the stretch of the season. But they all could go. None of them could go. One of them can go. I don't know. I also would definitely keep an eye on the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to make a deal to help get them some insurance, especially if they can get another big man. And also keep an eye on the Boston Celtics. They need to cut some salary.
Interesting. What are you keeping an eye on here, Bob?
Washington, right? We all know about Bradley Beal. Free agency is going to be coming up in July. Is there another move out there? Right now, they're not even in the play-in. So there's going to have to be a deal out there to continue to show Beal that this roster is going to improve.
Brian, I know you talked about this on the Hoop Collective podcast and explored this with Bradley Beal, but what are your expectations for him as we get closer to the trade?
So Bradley Beal is in position where he has turned down a contract extension because he wants, from what I am told, a full 5-year max. That would be a 70 or so, right, Bobby?
Yeah.
$70 or so million difference between what the Wizards could sign him for if he would go to someplace else. But obviously, if he were going to move, Bobby, if he didn't want to be in Washington and he wanted that full extra $70 million, you do the deal this week. But as of now, I don't feel any vibrations in the league that Bradley Beal is going anywhere.
Or you just wait until the offseason and you opt in to his contract and then you trade him and then he can extend 6 months later, similar to possibly like James Harden. You can get everything you want, the money, and the preferred team you want to go to.
Well, Bobby, since you are our salary cap guru here, I know that there are folks watching saying, what about the Lakers? What can they do to make any moves, maybe not around Russ, but around the perimeter to upgrade their roster?
The Laker fans were not happy when I said it's all about the math, right? You don't have the contracts to go out and make a deal, so you're looking at DeAndre Jordan, Kent Bazemore, fringe moves, open up roster spots, similar to what they did with the Rondo trade. They signed Stanley Johnson, probably one of their better offseason moves. It's all about fringe moves right now.
The Lakers are like every team's second or third or fourth backup option. If 2 or 3 things don't happen, all right, I guess we might be able to take this. So that Lakers are not in position to do something aggressively. They have to sort of wait for something to fall in their lap.
Well, and the other team that we're going to be watching as sellers, right, is the Pacers. What is going to be happening with their pieces? Are they going to be moving them? Thank you so much to all of our guests today. NFL Live is coming up next, and we get to dive into all this again tomorrow. We'll see you then.